Well, hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel where it is the big one. It's the final game of the championship season and Hull City, it could be their final game of the championship as we currently sit in the relegation zone. A win would solidify our place within the championship with the fixtures going on around us. There's 5 teams battling for one of them relegation spots. So not really battling for it, but battling to not be in that one relegation spot. And it's a very, very tight final day. I say 5 teams could be relegated. Hull City are one of them. Hull City are the one that at the moment, as things stand, will be relegated. But all that matters on what happens at Portsmouth tomorrow, and obviously with some of the other fixtures going on around us. So in this video, we're going to preview everything you need to know ahead of this clash, as it's probably the most pivotal clash, certainly in recent memory for Hull City. It's probably the most important game for Hull City if you're going to turn the ties back to maybe the playoff final in 2016. It might even be more important than that. Then you're casting it back to the FA Cup final in 2014. So certainly the biggest game of this decade, and certainly the biggest game in a little bit for Hull City. So let's crack straight in with our injury update. So some good news, some bad news in the injury update. Here we have it. Regan Slater will not be part of the squad as he left 15 minutes into the clash against Derby County. He will have his ankle strapped up in a protective boot for the next couple of weeks and will only be back available in contentions for when pre-season training begins at the beginning of July. Some good news in the fact that John Egan and Ivo Panda will both be available. Egan left due to some back spasms in the game against Derby, and then Ivo Panda has had a bit of strapping on his thigh, but he's expected to be all good to go. We will be called on Harry Vaughan, so Vaughan will be in some aspect of the squad, presumably on the bench. I believe he was on the bench for the Derby game, so he'll probably be on this one, as Ruben Sayers has said that he will call on Harry Vaughan as he looks to try and mastermind a victory. Dukan Cynic will not be involved within the squad. That probably means that Dukan Cynic will not be involved in Hull City in any aspect moving forwards. This is the last we've seen from Dukan Cynic. And of course, we won't have Elliot Matazeo, Liam Miller, Mohamed Baloumi, Oscar Zambrano, or Louis Barry. Of course, Louis Barry. There was a few little contentions. Maybe he could play this game. But as reported over the past weekend, unfortunately, he is not fit, ready to go. So without a Louis Barry. So, should we predict my Hull City starting 11? Powered by our friends over at Fanhub. It's a fantastic free app where you get rewarded for being a football fan for free. Use my golden ticket code HUL-IZR. Allows you to bypass the queue and also get rewarded for doing so. Well, here's what I think that Ruben Sayers will chuck out as the starting lineup for this squad. Hopefully some substitutions do get rotated throughout this game and not used in the last 3 minutes of the game when it's pretty much all said and done. So, Ivo Panda will be in net. There is no doubt about that. A back 4 of Louis Coyle, John Egan, Charlie Hughes and Sean McLaughlin. Head of that, Gustavo Puerta and Stephen Alzate. It's the partnership that we saw after Regan Slater was subbed off in the game against Derby. And I think this will be the starting configuration in the midfield. Along with Joe Geltart ahead of them, Nordin Amrabat, Abu Kamara, and then João Pedro leading the line. Why would you not have João Pedro in? He is Hull City's leading goal scorer this season. And in a game where you do need a goal in some aspects, 1, 2, however many, you're going to need a goal or more. João Pedro is probably the man to be there. So some other news, not too much news coming into this game, externally from the game, that being a little bit of news about Tiger Leisure, the MKM store of Tiger Leisure, so the one at the stadium. It will close on Monday the 5th of May and then it will reopen ahead of the next season, the 2025-26 season. So that's a little bit of news. Some other news, that the game is sold out in the away end down in Fratton Park, but it's also sold out in the Legends Lounge. Legends Lounge at the MKM Stadium, they're doing a viewing party. Hopefully it'll be all smiles, laughter, hope and joy there for everyone there, and obviously for the Tigers down at Fratton Park, Portsmouth. It's going to be a tough one. So, last meetings between both sides. Well, we've not lost to Portsmouth since 2020. Of course, picked up a big win at their ground in our League One Champions season, a 4-0 victory. But, of course, a lot of things have changed since then. A 1-1 draw. The points were split when Portsmouth came to the MKM Stadium back in November of this season. So, I haven't lost them this season. Hopefully, pick up a win and grab 4 points out of 6 points against Portsmouth this season. So that's the last 3 meetings between both sides. Form-wise, heading into this game, well, Portsmouth, they are pretty much feet up, ready to relax, ready for next season, as they have already solidified their place in the Championship, and pretty much no advances could be made on a top 6 or a title charge or anything like that. So Portsmouth are just playing out the remainder of the games, but they have been doing a very good job doing so. They managed to whoop Norwich City 5-3 in a game where really the wheels fell off Norwich, and I think they've sacked their manager now and all sorts. But since then, picking up a 1-0 win against Watford, and then a 1-1 draw against Sheffield Wednesday. Some hard fixtures in there. Derby County as well, 2-2 draw against a side that we lost to, a side that are fighting away from the relegation zone. I believe they were in the relegation zone at that time of that game. So certainly a side that are not putting their feet up and letting teams walk over them, and I doubt it will be the same thing in their final game, and of course their final home game of what has been a somewhat impressive Championship campaign. Everyone expected them to go straight back down. Well, they are here to stay, and it looks like it will be 3 new relegated teams, of course depending on what happens tomorrow. So, table-wise, well, I usually compile the table with just the 2 teams that are playing, but I thought, let's screw out Portsmouth and let's show you what this bottom of the Championship table does in fact look like. So, as you can see there, Hull City are in 22nd, 1 point behind Luton. So, let's run through the eventualities of what can happen tomorrow. Hull City win, Luton lose, Hull City are safe. Hull City win, Preston lose, Hull City are safe. Hull City win and Derby lose, Hull City are safe. Hull City win, Stoke City lose, Hull City are safe. No, it depends on that one. It depends if Stoke lose by 7 goals or more. Of course, Stoke and Derby are playing each other, so they are bound to drop points. That's kind of where the factor comes in, that Hull City, if they win, they are definitely safe, because if it's a draw, then of course Derby are on 50 points. Hull City win, then they go ahead of them on 51 points. Of course, if Derby lose, then they go ahead of them. And of course, if Derby win, then Stoke have to lose. So, of course, they go ahead of them. So, no matter what eventuality, if Hull City win, we stay up. Of course, draw-wise, that's where things can be affected a little bit. So, if we draw, we have to hope that that Preston or Luton lose. Of course, Preston's a bit of a tighter one because of the goal difference. It's a little bit closer than it is with Luton. Of course, Luton, we have a 12-goal swing to the negative side. So, if we draw, we have to hope that Luton lose. I believe that Luton are playing West Brom. Let me just quickly check that. Yes, they are away at West Brom. So the away at the Hawthorns, tough ground to go to, especially as I believe West Brom are they're not quite going to be going for a top 6 charge, but certainly there's a few teams around them that they could maybe, or there is a Middlesbrough that could maybe leapfrog over. And of course, final home game of the season, as I've said with Portsmouth, you can make a good standing to your fans, thank them for a good season. So I doubt that West Brom will be going over lightly. So Luton lose, or Preston lose. Of course, Preston's a bit of a tighter one, and Hull City draw, we stay up. So that's the eventualities of what can happen tomorrow. A draw could keep us up, a win will keep us up. So it's still win to survive. go for the win. If the draw happens and we somehow manage to stay up, thank you, lucky stars. But the win is what we should be going for. And yeah, if they don't go at it full 90, it's going to be a disappointing one, isn't it? It could be a major mood swinger, as Hull City could be playing in League One next season. And yeah, it's about 5 million steps backwards for the club. So, player to watch out for, with all of this saying, a certain player to watch out for being Josh Murphy. I believe that he has had the best goal contribution stats for any player that has signed into the Championship this season. So, any of the summer signings, I believe, or certainly at one point, Josh Murphy was the best of them all in goal contributions. 14 assists and 7 goals. Well, he's bound to probably produce something tomorrow. His last assist came in that 1-1 Sheffield Wednesday draw last time out for Portsmouth. He also grabbed 2 assists in the 5-3 win over Norwich. One of them, another assist against Derby. His last goal was in the 1-0 win against Blackburn at the back end of March. So certainly a player to watch out for in Josh Murphy. Score prediction. Well, I do think that Hull City will stay in the Championship with a 2-1 victory down at Fratton Park. 2-1 over Portsmouth in what could be the biggest game for Hull City, certainly since 2016, but even if not back to 2014 FA Cup final. Biggest game in 9 to 11 years for the club, and it's not even at the home ground once again. But down to Fratton Park. Last time we was down there, we won 4-0. I'd be happy with a 4-0 win again and just solidify our place in the Championship. Even that more with a bit more of a sweeter win. But this squad, where are the 4 goals going to come from? Well, where do I think these 2 goals are going to come from? Well, I think one of them will be through João Pedro, Hull City's leading goal scorer. He'll have another one onto his tally for the season. And Casey Palmer grabbing what will be the winning goal for the Tigers. I think that it has to be Casey Palmer. So I'll leave you with that photo of Adrian Ilajali as we ask ourselves, can Hull City stay up? Will Hull City stay up? Hull City have to stay up. It has to be. We can't be a League One side yet again after being down there, 5 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago now. So, big game. Let me know down in the comments if you think Hull City will stay up in the Championship, what you think the score prediction, what your score prediction will be, and any other little bits of good things that you want to comment down there. Please do so, as I will be with you after the game tomorrow. Win, lose, draw. If Hull City are in the Championship, or even if they're in League One, I will be here after the game with a post-match reaction. So stay tuned on the channel by liking and subscribing. I'll keep you updated on everything Hull City, not only tomorrow but throughout the summer as we press on into hopefully yet another Championship campaign. So I'll see you in the next video. Up the Tigers. Please win.